everyone, it's Isabel. Thank you so much for joining me. Today I will be working on a layout for a new YouTube hop that Rachel Tallman has put together. Now, once a month, several YouTubers will create a layout for the posted theme of the month. This month's theme is focused on Happy Galentine's Day. So I imagine that there will be lots of friends and family on these layouts. Now, this YouTube hop in particular is open to anybody who would like to participate. So to gain that information, there will be a link to the Facebook group in my description box. And also, there are many very talented creators playing along. So if you're interested in seeing their process, you can find their channel links down below as well. Now on this particular layout, I have chose 4 papers to use. I'm going to use the white one as my background paper, and then the black and neon colored ones, I'm gonna create a I've kind of been doing this on a lot of my layouts where I kind of border in the photo. I'm going to do it again with the borders being on top and bottom of the photo, and then create another vertical strip with mixed media. So let's get started and see how this comes out. I started with the black on top and bottom as my base strip, and then I kind of just cut a piece of the purple polka dot to put on top of that, and then layered it with 2 thin strips off of that neon striped paper that I had. I just cut 2 of the blue stripes off so that I have that blue and purple going on, because the blue and purple is in the photo. Now, most of the time I like my photo to kind of guide my color choices. I don't use all of the colors in this case. Sometimes I do, but on this one, I'm gonna just focus on the blues and purples. Now, I brought in for the background distress part, like a background element stamp that I had. Actually, I won this from one of the YouTubers' giveaways, and I hadn't yet played with it, but I love this stamp set. It's got several different kinds of elements on it. It's got the polka dots, it's got the brush strokes and the splatters, and I love the X's. In this case, I'm utilizing them as hug, like hugs and kisses, since we're doing a Galentine's layout. But I get a couple of those stamped off. I don't know if you can really tell, but I did outline where my photo is going to sit, and I'm kind of just working on both sides of it, not so much in the middle. And I'm getting all the dark stamping done because I'm gonna bring in some blue and purple sprays that I have to get some color going on to kind of match the whole color theme of my layout. Now, all of the stamps that I'm using, they weren't just close to my heart. I brought in a friend stamp that came from a stamp set from Amazon, and then I have 2 words, Halloween and spooky, on there. That came off of a Stampers Anonymous Tim Holtz Halloween collection stamp set and stamp and stencil set. And then this swirl came off of a different close to my heart stamp set called Fresh Paint. Once I get all of this done, I'm gonna bring in 2 colors. The purple pinkish color comes from the Delusion ink spray in Funky Fuchsia. And then the blue color tone is the Shimmers Paints Vibes from Seize the Day. I wanted to do the packaging technique because I didn't want there to be a uniform look, but I also wanted to have a little bit of control as well on where my ink was going to go on the layout. So what I did was, instead of laying the package flat on the ink and then smushing it on the layout, I rolled it up into like a ball and held it with the tips of my finger, and then just kind of lightly dabbed the ink on my media surface and then brought it to the layout. A lot of the times, depending on what colors you use, you don't want them to mix, so you'll have to wait in layers for it to dry before you add the next color, so that it doesn't create like a muddy look. But I wanted them to blend a little bit, so I didn't completely wait for them to dry. Just enough for it to not mix everything. I wanted that blue, almost like a pinkish purple, and then like a blue purple in there. And I feel like I really nailed the look that I was going for. But once I finished all of that mixed media, color in the background. I felt like I wanted to put more black into it. I had a little bit of open space in between certain stamps. So I went into my collection and I found a cluster of birds that I thought would tie in really nice with that whole Halloween theme. And then I had a bright idea to bring in my Tim Holtz star stencil and get some textured paste on there for a little bit of texture. Now, I could have left it white and it would have probably popped off the background a little bit better, but I had a bright idea to add the blue and that fuchsia in the texture paste to create a purple and then add the stars. Now, I know it's really hard to see, but in person, you can tell that there's texture there. It's just really hard to see on camera. Once I get the stars all laid out where I want them, I'm gonna bring in the photo. Now, it just seemed a little bit plain, so what I did was I brought in some more layers. I found a black and white polka dot that I'm gonna put behind it first. But I thought, you know, since I added that texture paste, I wanted to add a little bit more dimension on there. And I'm going to pop up the photo on some fun foam before adhering it down to a couple of the layers that I'm going to add. So my layers consist of a thin white border around the photo, and then a distressed black cardstock that frames the white, a distressed cardstock that frames the black, and then I'm going to bring in the same purple strip that I'm using on top and bottom of the layout for each side of the photo to make it look like there is a long strip behind it, and then use a light blue to really balance out that photo. At first, when I was doing the layout, I didn't know what my title was going to be. I thought because we had that big Universal Studios in the background, that would be my title. But when I was going through my my stickers, I came across this handwritten adventure word. And since we went to Universal Studios for Fright Night, and it's not really notated that it's for Halloween, I'm going to create a title that says Fright Night Adventure. Now, the adventure is a thickers collection titled One of a Kind. And then the Fright Night I did on my Cricut, I just measured out how much space I wanted to play with, and then got a font that would work with the adventure. Now, I cut the title, or the Fright Night title, in a basic black cardstock, and it doesn't have that shine to it. So in order to correct that so that it matches the word adventure, I brought in some of my gloss embossing powder. Once I finish heat embossing it, it's going to give it that shine. Nothing too drastic, but just enough to match the word adventure so that it looks like a cohesive title. Once I do that, I'm going to adhere it, and I realized that I forgot to do the splattering in my mixed media, so I'm just going to go back with a little bit of the 2 sprays watered down and splatter it on top and bottom all the way across the mixed media. Once I get that done, I am pretty much just gonna focus on the embellishing after that. I bring in my Simple Stories, I think it's like a simple vintage Halloween collection, and then I bring in some frames, or not frames, but some tags from a Cartabella Halloween collection, and get those down on each side of the photo. Now, the Cartabella is the bewitching that I end up using on the left-hand side of the photo, along with that little ghost. And then the rest of the embellishments, the bat, the not too scary clip, the happy haunting, those stickers are all part of the Simple Stories collection. I also bring in a die set from my Sizzix collection. It is a leaf. To me, it looks like the vines from a pumpkin patch. I am going to get them cut in a glossy cardstock. I could have cut the Fright Night in that gloss, but I didn't think about it until after I had already done the work for the title. So I did find the black gloss, get that cut in the vine, and then stick it on each side of the title. Now my bats, I stick them down just like I would a butterfly with the wings propped up. Eventually they're probably going to go down, but what I did was I took the adhesive off of the wings. So they'll never actually stick down to the layout. They'll flatten out in my books, but if I ever wanted to bring it out, and all I would have to do is just squeeze the bat wings, because they wouldn't be adhered to the layout. But that's going to be pretty much the layout, you guys. I thank you so much for joining me through this process. Oops. Remember, if you're interested in joining us for next month, go and hop onto the Facebook group and get all the information that you need. Next month, we'll be playing with sequins, sparkles, and everything, all things shiny. I think that's what the theme is. So I can't wait to get my hands dirty with all the glitter and sequins. We'll see how it comes out and what I choose. But there are also a lot of talented creators who are playing along. If you just go below, if you already haven't done so on anybody else's channel, hop along and see what everybody created. There is so much inspiration out there. It is amazing. I thank you again for joining me, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Bye.